Hi, good morning, my dear student. Today we will continue our chapter 4 Thinker, Beliefs, and Building. My dear student, in this chapter, I was taught you about Mahavir Swami and their teaching, Jain and their teaching. Today we will try to understand about the teaching of Buddha. Before we start this topic, I would like to tell you that we studied about the life of Buddha in our previous video. Today we will focus the teaching of बुद्धा. टीचिंग क्या थे, उपदेश क्या थे बुद्ध के, इसके बारे में हम लोग आज बात करेंगे, देखेंगे. As you know that I told you, I inform you that the teaching of Buddha after the enlightenment, Buddha decided to propagate their preach their knowledge among all the people who discriminate by Brahmanical tradition. He also tried to do social reform. As you know that I told you in my previous class that the 6th century BC or mid-millennium BC is called turning point in history. Because of that, the atheist sect who emerged and they denied the authority of God. In my previous video, I was also discuss about the basic concept of Buddhism and their things, where I told you what is the meaning of Buddha, and I hope you have remember that there it was clearly explained by me the meaning of Buddhism. The word Buddhism means the awakened one, coming from the Sanskrit root Buddh, to awake. Buddha, it means to awake, jagna. He is a man who has woken fully as if from a deep sleep to discover the suffering. Like a dream is over, the historical Buddha was, however, a man like any other, but an exceptional one. What he rediscovered was a way that anyone can walk, providing that they are so inclined. The historical Buddha, Gautam, was not the first Buddha. According to Buddhist methods, historical Buddha, Gautam Buddha, was not the first Buddha. There had been other who had walked the way before him. He was not a god, a prophet, or any kind of supernatural beings. He was, as we have seen, one who was born, lived, and died a human beings. That is very important. Again, I am saying what I want to tell you, that he was not a god or prophet or any kind of supernatural beings. He was, as we have seen, one who was born, lived, and died, a human beings. A remarkable human beings who discovered a way of achieving true wisdom, compassion, and the freedom from suffering. He rediscovered an ancient way to an ancient city that had been covered up and forgotten. Through his own effort, he was able to find the way out of suffering to liberation, and those that have followed him have kept the way open. The Buddha did not teach that a God created the universe. Buddha did not teach the God created world. He pointed to a great law or dharma running through everything that exists. He pointed to a great law or dharma running through everything that exists. It is by living in accordance with this law that true wisdom and compassion and hence freedom from suffering may be achieved. Suffering may only be overcome, however, by being confronted and lived through in the Buddha's world. Suffering, I teach, and the way out of suffering. Fundamental Buddhist doctrines include the followings, my dear. The chain of causation. The chain of causation, that is fundamental Buddhist doctrines, included the followings, what I am telling you. The chain of causation, the 12 link chain of causation, 12 link, द्वादश निदान की बात, what I told you in your class. The chain of causation. This important doctrine teaches the interconnectedness of all things and in particular the law of karma and the mechanism by which we create a world of suffering for ourselves and others, and the opposite, the way to live that reduce suffering for all and leads to liberation. The three signs of being. The three signs of being: change, suffering, no. I the first. Change the point out of the basic fact that nothing in the world is fixed or permanent. Nothing in the world is fixed or permanent. We ourselves are not the same people, either physically, emotionally, or mentally. Nothing is fixed in the world permanently. We ourselves are not the same people, either physically, emotionally, or mentally. Day by day, everything is going to change. Everything, सब कुछ बदल रहा है. My dear, this is the very important thing. When you will observe your own personal photographs, before and after and present, you can easily understand that what I am saying. We ourselves are not the same people, either physically, emotionally, or mentally, that we were 10 years or even 10 minutes ago, living as we do, then as shifting being upon shifting sand. It is not possible for us to find the lasting security. My dear, as regard the second sign, we have already seen how it was the experience of suffering that sent the Buddha off on his great spiritual quest. though suffering is not a very good translation of the original word dukh. Suffering is not the original word who explain the actual meaning of dukh. Four Noble Truth: dukh, dukh samudaya, dukh nirodh, dukh nirodh gamini pratipada. Suffering in English we can take for dukh, but here I want to tell you that dukh is not the actual word who explain the, suffering is not the actual word which explain dukh of Buddhism. बुद्धिज्म के दुख को एक्सप्लेन करने के लिए सफरिंग, दैट इज नॉट द एक्चुअल वर्ड इन द बुद्धिज्म. As you know that the Four Noble Truth is the basic education of the Buddhism. That's why I am saying that suffering is not a very good translation of the original word dukh. Dukh implies the generally unsatisfactory and the imperfect nature of life. However, it does not follow that Buddhists believe that the life is all suffering. Buddhists do believe that there is happiness in life, but know that it does not last, and that even in the most fortunate of life there is suffering. Happiness is subject to the law of change and impermanence. Happiness is subject to the law of change and impermanence. No I. The third sign. First sign is that, what was first sign? I hope you have remembered. I remind you, first sign is that change, second sign is suffering, and third sign is no I, the first. No I, the first. First and second sign that is explained by me. Let us come and try to understand the third sign. No I. That is very important to understand what is the meaning of no I, the first. No I, the third sign, is little more difficult. Buddhists do not believe that there is anything everlasting or unchangeable in human being. No soul or self in which a stable sense of I might anchor itself. The whole idea of I is in fact a basically false one that tries to set itself. The whole idea of I is in fact a basically false one that tries to set itself up in an unstandable and temporary collection of elements. Take the traditional analog of cart. Take the traditional analog of the cart. बैलगाड़ी को देखिए. A cart may be broken down into its basic component: axle, wheel, shaft, sides, etc. Then the cart is no more. All we have is a pile of components. In the same way, I am made up of various elements. It means Lord Buddha tried to explain that no I first. Why? बिकॉज मैं हूँ को आप इसलिए भूल जाइए कि जो हमारा शरीर है वो एक तत्व से बन के नहीं, बल्कि ठीक उसी प्रकार जैसे बैलगाड़ी में उसके एक्सल हैं, उसके व्हील्स हैं, उसके शाफ्ट हैं, उसके साइड हैं, और भी तमाम सारी लकड़ियां हैं, उनसे बन के एक कार्ट तैयार होता है, एक बैलगाड़ी तैयार होती है। अगर इन तत्वों को हटा दिया जाए तो क्या वो बैलगाड़ी रहेगी? नहीं। ठीक उसी प्रकार यदि आप अपने शरीर के विभिन्न तत्वों को अलग कर दें तो क्या आपके शरीर का अस्तित्व रहेगा? नहीं। My dear, that is the very important thing which I want to tell you, which I want to discuss you, that in the world nothing is permanent, or nothing is stable, everything is change, सभी बदल रहे हैं. That's why I am saying, my dear, the world is changeable. परिवर्तन ही प्रकृति का नियम है. प्रतिपल पल प्रतिपल विश्व में ये व्यवस्था चल रही है, सब कुछ बदल रहा है. हम आप सब, हमारा शरीर जो एक कई सारे तत्वों से मिलकर जुड़ा हुआ दिखाई देता है, आज वो आपको कई सारे खंडों में अलग अलग दिखाई देता है. My dear, I hope you are getting understand that what I am saying. I try to set the example, the cart. It is very easy to understand. A cart may be broken down into its basic components, axle, wheel, shaft, side, etc. Then the cart is no more. All we have is a pile of components. In the same way, I am made up of various elements or aggregates. Khand, from Roop Khand, feeling, sensation, pleasant, unpleasant, natural. Vedana Khand, perception. Sana Khand, violation, violational, mental activities. Shankar Khand, sense, consciousness. Vina Khand, it means the different elements which made our body. If these elements separately categorize, there is no existence of a body if they leave it. अगर छोड़ दें ये तत्व तो क्या हमारे शरीर का अस्तित्व रहेगा? नहीं. The four noble truth is very important here to explain. The noble truth is suffering, dukh. The first noble truth is suffering, dukh. Second, the noble truth of the origin of suffering. Second noble truth is the origin of suffering. Third noble truth, the noble truth of causation of suffering. And fourth, the noble truth of the way leading to the causes of suffering. The noble eightfold path. Eightfold path. That is very important. Eightfold path. Buddhism being with the fact of suffering. However, before we can do anything about it, we must know its cause, which is the deeply rooted sense of I that we all have because of this way. We are always struggling to get things that are pleasurable and avoid things that are painful to find S and security, and generally to manipulate the people and situation to be the way I want them. And because the rest of the world does not necessarily fit in with what I want, we often find ourselves cutting against the general flow of things and getting hurt and disappointed in the process. Suffering may be therefore brought to an end by the transcending this strong sense of I, so that we come into greater harmony with things in general. The means of doing this is the noble eightfolded path. The noble eightfold path. Please write down. I'm going to count the eightfolded path. First, right view. Second, right thought. Third, right speech. Fourth, right action. Fifth, right livelihood. Sixth, right effort. 7, right mindfulness. And 8, right concentration. Samyak view, सम्यक दृष्टि, सम्यक संकल्प, सम्यक वाक, सम्यक कर्मान, सम्यक आजीव, सम्यक व्यायाम, सम्यक स्मृति और सम्यक समाधि. That is eightfolded path, which I count here: right view, right thought, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. The wheel is the symbol of the dharma and is shown with 8 spokes, which represent the noble eightfolded path. Right view is important at the start because if we cannot see the truth of the Four Noble Truths, then we can't make any sort of beings. Right thought follows naturally from this. Right means in the accordance with the fact, with the way things are, which may be different from how I would like them to be. Right thought, right speech, right action, right livelihood involve moral restraint, refraining from lying, stealing, committing violent act, and earning one's living in a way harmful to other. Moral restraint not only help bring about the general social harmony, but also help us control and tameness to sense of I. Like a greed child, I grow big and natural the more we let it have its own way. Next, right effort is important because I thrives on idleness and wrong effort. Some of the greatest criminals are the most energetic people. So effort must be appropriate to the dimensions of I. And in any case, if we are not prepared to exert ourselves, we cannot hope to achieve anything at all, either the spiritual sense, nor I in life. The last 2 steps of the path, right meaningfuls are awareness and right concentration are the absorptions, represent the first stage toward liberation from suffering. To be aware and at one with what we are doing is fundamental to proper living. This practice takes many forms, but in the West, the formal practice is called the meditation. In the most basic form of Buddhist meditation, person sits cross-legged or the cushions on the floor of upright in a chair. He sees quality, watches the rise and fall of the breath. It thought the emotions or the impulse arise. He sees just observe them come up and go like closed in a blue sky. Without rejecting them, One, the one-handed are being carried away into daydreaming or the restlessness of the other. It should be learnt under the guidance of the teacher, just as the Buddha to learn meditation. My dear, this is the basic teaching of the Buddha. This is the basic teaching of the Buddha. That is the very important. Let us come and try to understand the book what he wrote. Your book, The Teaching of Buddha, where clearly explain the Buddha's teachings have been reconstructed from stories found mainly in the Sutta Pitaka. Although some stories describe the miraculous power, others suggest that Buddha tried to convenience people through reason and and the persuasion rather than through display of the supernatural power. For instance, when a grief-stricken woman whose child had died came to the Buddha, he gently convenienced her about the inevitability of the death rather than bring her son back to life. These stories were narrated in the language spoken by ordinary people. So, these could be easily understood, my dear. According to this paragraph, author want to clarify you that कि बुद्ध की शिक्षाओं को सूत पिटक नामक एक ग्रंथ में संकलित किया गया। सूत पिटक में दी गई कहानियों के आधार पर उसे पुनर्निर्मित किया गया, फिर से बनाया गया, रिकंस्ट्रक्ट किया गया। हालांकि कुछ कहानियों में उनकी अलौकिक शक्तियों का वर्णन है, उनकी मिरेकलस पावर का वर्णन है। दूसरी कथाएं दिखाती हैं कि अलौकिक शक्तियों की बजाय बुद्ध ने लोगों को विवेक और तर्क की कसौटी पर, तर्क के आधार पर समझाने का प्रयास किया। उदाहरण के लिए जब एक मरे हुए बच्चे की दुखी मां बुद्ध के पास आई और उन्हें बच्चे को जीवित करने का बजाय उस महिला को मृत्यु के अवश्यंभावी होने की बात समझाई। मृत्यु, दैट इज inevitability of the death rather than bring her son back to life. उन्होंने बच्चे को जीवित होने की बजाय उस महिला के मृत्यु होने की बात को उन्होंने समझाया। ये कथाएं आम जनता की भाषा में रची गई थी। ये कथाएं मागधी भाषा में रची गई थी, फोक लैंग्वेज में रची गई थी, जिससे लोगों को आसानी से समझ आ सके। बौद्ध दर्शन के अनुसार पूरा विश्व अनित्य है। According to Buddhist philosophy, the world is transient, anicca, the constantly changing. पल प्रतिपल बदल रहा है, लगातार बदल रहा है। It is also soulless, यह आत्मा विहीन है, अनंता है। As there is nothing permanent or eternal in it. संसार में कोई भी चीज स्थायी नहीं है, हर चीज क्षणभंगुर है, कुछ भी शाश्वत नहीं है। इस क्षणभंगुर दुनिया में, इस क्षणभंगुर संसार में दुख मनुष्य के जीवन का अंतर्निहित तत्व है। सफरिंग इज द मेन एलिमेंट। दुख, सॉरो इज द इंटरनेसिक ऑफ ह्यूमन existence. It is by following the path of moderation between the self-finance and self-indulgence that human being can rise above these worldly troubles. In the earlier forms of Buddhism, whether or not God existence was irrelevant. दुनिया क्षणभंगुर है, पल प्रतिपल बदल रही है। दुख मनुष्य के जीवन का अंतर्निहित तत्व है और घोर तपस्या और विषयों के प्रति आसक्ति की बीच मध्यम मार्ग अपना करके, या आप घोर एक्सट्रीम अस्केटिज्म की तरफ भी मर जाएं और आप ज़्यादा किधर जाएं, path of moderation between the severe penance and the self indulgence। आप एक्सट्रीम अस्केटिज्म और सेल्फ इंडल्जेंस के बीच मीडियम पथ को फॉलो करें। बौद्ध धर्म की प्रारंभिक परंपराओं में भगवान का न होना अप्रासंगिक है। बौद्ध धर्म भगवान को नहीं मानता। बुद्ध मानते थे कि समाज का निर्माण इंसानों ने किया था, न कि ईश्वर ने। इसलिए उन्होंने राजाओं को, इसलिए उन्होंने गृहपतियों को दयावान, सज्जन, आचारवान होने की सलाह दी। ऐसा माना जाता है कि व्यक्तिगत प्रयास से सामाजिक परिवेश को बदला जा सकता है। बुद्ध के जन्म, मृत्यु के चक्र से मुक्ति, आत्मज्ञान और निर्वाण के लिए व्यक्ति केंद्रित हस्तक्षेप और सम्यक कर्म की कल्पना की। निर्वाण का मतलब था अहम की इच्छा का खत्म हो जाना, मैं की इच्छा का समाप्त हो जाना, जिससे गृह त्याग करने वालों को दुख के चक्र की मुक्ति हो जाती। जो घर छोड़ देते उनके दुख का चक्र का अंत हो जाता। बौद्ध परंपरा के अनुसार अपने शिष्यों के लिए उनका अंतिम निर्देश था, तुम अपने लिए खुद की ज्योति बनो, तुम अपने लिए प्रकाशित हो, तुम अपना विकास स्व करो, खुद से करो। माय डियर, द बुद्धास रिगार्डेड the social world as the creation of human rather than of divine origin. Therefore, they advised king and Grahpatis to be human. Ethnic individual effort was expected to transform social relation. Buddha emphasized individual agencies and the righteous action as the means to escape from the cycle of rebirth and attain self-irrelations and Nibbana, literally the extinguishing of the ego and desire, and thus end the cycle of suffering for those to renounce the world according to Buddha's tradition. His last word to his followers were, be lambs unto yourself. Be lambs unto yourself, as all of you must work out your own liberation. My dear, आज के लिए इतना ही. We will continue this topic in my next video. Goodbye and take care.